All right, so this next lesson we're going to be talking about this week is angles outside of a circle notes. So basically we're going to see how all of these angles are formed outside of our circles using secants, tangents, and tangents and secants together. So let's look at this first one. The angle made by two secants intersecting outside a circle is half the difference between the intercepted arc measurements. So that means that this angle right here, okay, so what we're trying to find, and we can find that by adding these two arc lengths together and then dividing by 2. So let's look at an example over here. So let's say this arc length was, let's say 40 degrees. And then this one over here is 120. Okay. And so what we'll do is we'll add these two. These are intercepted arc measures because they're making up. There's what is included in my angle. So we add these 120 plus 40 and we'll divide by 2. Or wait, hold on, not add, sorry. We're finding the difference. Sorry, so we'll subtract them. And then that will be 80. 80 divided by 2 is 40. Okay? So, I'm sorry if I said that wrong to begin with. These are all going to be the same where in the past we have added. Now we're going to be taking the difference or subtracting. Okay? So you'll see that common word is with all of these, half the difference, half the difference, half the difference. So we're just dividing by 2, subtracting, and then dividing by 2. For these, okay? So let's go to tangent. Two tangents intersect in the exterior of an angle. Then the measure of the angle formed is 1/2 the difference of the measures of the intercepted arc. So this makes sense as far as why we have to subtract, because when you have tangents, we're looking at the entire circumference of the circle. So which we know is always 360. So if we were adding, we'd always end up with 360 divided by 2, which we just get the same answer every time. So that's why taking the difference with these is so important. So that means just whenever our angle's on the outside, guess what? You're going to be subtracting. So it's pretty easy. So let's say this outside angle or outside arc right here is 225. And then let's say this interior, or not interior, but this other intercepted arc is 135. Okay, and we're trying to find this angle. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and copy that down over here with the example because I'll have more room. So this is 35 degrees. This part is 225. Okay, and we're trying to find this one. Okay, so what we will do is we're going to add 225. Or not add, I keep doing that. We're going to subtract, we're going to take the difference. 225 minus 135, okay? And then we're going to divide by this whole thing by 2. So we'll do 225 minus 135. And notice how I'm always taking the larger arc and I am dividing it by the smaller arc. So you're going to do that every time. So this is 45 degrees, okay? And these aren't drawn to scale necessarily, so... but that's that general idea. All right, so let's go to this last example. The last example, we have a tangent and a secant, okay? But it's the same thing. If a tangent and secant intersect in the exterior of a circle, then the measure of the angles formed 1/2 the difference of the measure of the intercepted arc. So that means this angle would be the difference of these two arcs divided by 2, okay? So let's say this this first side we'll just say is 180 degrees. No, not 180. Let's do 120. 120 degrees. And then this part, let's say this is 120. Let's say this is 150. Okay, and so to find this angle over here, we'd subtract these two. 150 minus 120 divided by 2. 30 divided by 2 is 15. And obviously this isn't drawn to scale, but just in general, just trying to give you guys how to find these angles, okay? You take the difference of the two intercepted arcs, subtract them, the same thing as taking the difference, and then divide by 2. All right, so let's look at some examples where we're going to be given some variables, okay? So here we are given the angle, okay? So we know that's going to go on one side of my equal sign. So when I'm setting this up, it's going to be 29 is equal to something, okay? And so what my definition said is this bigger arc, which is 114, minus my smaller arc that's intercepted, divided by 2, okay? And then from there, we're just solving for x. So we're going to multiply by 2. So that's 58 equals, these will cancel out, equals 114 minus x. We'll subtract 114 on either side. Okay, and we'll get 56, or negative 56 is equal to negative x, or x is equal to 56. Okay, and I kind of ran out of room there, but that's basically how we'll do this. So very similar to this last one. I want you to pause this video and try this next one because it's very, very similar. Okay, so you should have tried it on your own, but basically again it's going to be this bigger arc minus this smaller arc equals this angle. So we'll do 3x minus 2 minus, make sure we put this in parentheses. This is something I didn't tell you guys, we didn't need to for this last one because it just had an x. Okay, but make sure if it's an expression like this that you put the whole thing in parentheses because you got to distribute. You have to distribute that negative. So divided by 2 is equal to 34. Okay, so let's go ahead and multiply by 2. And we're going to go ahead and distribute this negative. Okay, we're just going to do 2 steps at once. So this will be 3x minus 2 minus x minus 6 is equal to 34 times 2, which is 68. Okay. Then from there, I'm going to combine my like terms. I'm going to combine these. I'll combine those. So 3x minus x will give me 2x. Negative 2 minus 6 will give me negative 8. I'll add 8 to both sides. So 68 plus 8. Give me 76. 76 divided by 2 is 38. Okay. So that's how we find x for this one. So, and that's what we're looking for all of these is how to find x. Okay. So I'm gonna keep going. And the good news is for these last ones, like we had a tangent and we had a secant here. We had 2 secants here, and then but we use the same definition. So for this lesson versus the last lesson, this one's a little easier to remember the formulas just because you're only dealing with one for all these different cases. So that's pretty cool. Let's keep going. Let's go to 11. So 11, same thing. We'll have this angle is what we're setting equal to these two subtracted. So we know this one's bigger. So we're going to do x plus 70 minus x plus 30. All right, divided by 2. Ooh, this is kind of cool. Because if I multiply by 2 over here, these cancel, and then guess what? These also cancel. So we're just left with x over on this side. And then let's go ahead and distribute the negative. So this will be negative x minus 30. Make sure you distribute that negative, okay? So you'll see something. If I combine these two x's, guess what? They cancel out. And I'm going to combine these two, so x is equal to 40. All right, pretty easy. All right, let's go to this next one. This next one we're going to have to use a little bit of like knowledge on how much our circumference is, the arc length of our circumference is, which we know is 360. Okay, so if I want to find this arc length, okay, I've got to do 360 minus 125. So this is 235. Okay, so that's my first step. I want to be able to make sure I have all the information that I need, okay, to do this problem, because we got to take the difference of our intercepted arcs instead of equal to this angle to find x. Okay, so I'm going to take my bigger arc, which is, we just found was 235, minus 125 divided by 2 equals 6x minus 11. Okay, and then from there we're just going to multiply. I would first subtract and then see if you can divide. So let's do that. Let's do 235, or just put this whole part in your calculator. 235 minus 125 divided by 2. The reason we had it in the past is because it had variables, but this time we don't. So if I put that whole thing in my calculator, or I subtract these, I get 110. 110 divided by 2 is 55. Then I'll just add 11. $11 is equal to x. Okay? So that's it. So let's keep going. Got like 3 more. If you feel like you got the hang of it, you can always pause the video, try it, and then, you know, wait for me to work through it after to check your answer. Okay, so again, we're given our bigger length, we're given our smaller or arc length, bigger arc length, and we're going to subtract. So 230x minus 1 minus 130x plus 1 should equal, divided by 2, should equal 47x plus 2. Okay? So then again, I'm just going to multiply by 2. I'm kind of writing it like that so we can know to distribute the 2. And these will cancel. I'm going to distribute my negative. Distribute the 2. So 2 times 47 will give me, 94. And then 2 times 2 will give me 4. Make sure you're being careful and that you're distributing this 2 to both, okay? Because we multiplied this 2 so that we could get rid of it in the denominator on this side. Okay, then I'm just going to combine like terms. So this is 100x minus 2 is equal to 94x plus 4. I'll add 2. Subtract 94x. And notice we get 6x is equal to 6. So x is equal to 1. Okay. That circle's not very pretty, sorry. Or oval, I should say. Okay, so let's go over to this one. I should have given myself a little more room. All right, same idea. This one's a little easier, okay, but we'll do 36x minus 1 is equal to the bigger arc minus the smaller arc divided by 2. I'm going to go ahead and put this whole thing in my calculator. So 110 minus 40 divided by 2, and that'll give me 35 over here. Okay, so we'll add 1. Oh, that's nice. And so we get x is equal to 1. All right, last problem. Okay, same idea. This one's a little easier as well. We'll take that bigger arc, 152, subtract it from our smaller arc, divide by 2, set it equal to the angle on the outside. I'm just going to put the whole thing in my calculator. If I notice it's all numbers, you might as well, right? So 152 minus 62 divided by 2. This will be 90. 90 divided by 2 is 45. Minus 15. I get 30 is equal to 3x. Divide by 3. 10 is equal to x. And so notice I got pretty numbers for all of these. You, just like the last lesson we talked about, you probably did something wrong if you end up with some kind of decimal. So always go back and check your work. Another thing is just making sure you're dividing by 2 when you need to be. And if you need any extra help, again, I'll have academic labs or you can email me. All right, thanks guys, bye.